Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky.
All right.
You carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one. You know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your
All right.
So you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours.
All right.
Wheelchair case.
That's what I just said.
$50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or
there they
insurance
are.
accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826.
Hi there.
5826. 800-823-5826.
Laird Leprechaun and people.
Jaina and Sammy from Bells of Liberty discussing Tin Can Radio.
And you're like, oh, he's so cute.
Is he? He's bad. He's just.
And yet, he's so cute.
Is he that cute though?
I mean,
1, 2, 3.
He's a monster. I don't know what to do with him.
just does stupid things that only
Okie
hurt
dokie.
himself. He's a dick. I hate him. I could just kill him.
I'm glad to see more people are now joining the forum.
PM Eastern on Mojo 50 or anytime
15.
on the Spreaker podcast app.
I'll bet you've noticed there are food shortages happening just about everywhere. If you think it'll get worse before it gets better, don't get caught unprepared to feed your family. Prepare with mojo50.com.
The Daily Mojo. The question isn't who's going to let us. The question is who's going to stop us. Adjust your mojo now. Thank you. The mothership has landed. Brad Staggs. The mighty Mojo 50.
All right, I'm glad you're all here because, quite frankly, Ron and I were having a discussion. It was getting awkward, and I was like, open the doors, let other people in. Let's get them in here. We'll talk about it later. But I do, speaking of talking, I do want to talk to the future people for just a second. Not ignoring the now people, but the future people who are listening to the podcast, let's say tomorrow, which to them would be right now.
Yes.
Want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast and for, we've adjusted the format of it a little bit. We've clipped out the unnecessary pieces and parts that didn't necessarily add to the program, which gave us some room to add some current sponsors, which because, as you know, we're trying to find new and exciting ways to keep the company moving forward, without having to go to the local homeless shelter. And so by doing that, we've been able to make room on the podcast for some additional sponsors, not necessarily our sponsors, but like network sponsors.
Correct.
That the podcast platform puts in there, which we have no control over. Apparently, the only control we have over it is whether or not it's illegal stuff, which is kind of weird.
No, we have control over that.
But the weird thing is, like, what would be illegal that they'd be advertising? I don't get it.
I don't
if it's
either.
Illegal, how are
I don't
they
either, unless we hear one of the commercials. I mean, at that point, then it's too late. But
right. Anyway, so you may hear some weird stuff. Is all I guess what I'm saying here. You may hear some strange commercials during the podcast.
And they may be in a strange language. Just know that. I think the other day we ran one that was that was Spanish. I don't know why.
Those damn Spanish people.
Yeah.
But so just know that we don't necessarily endorse the products in there. We don't know what's going to be in there, but thank you, because it's another way that we can continue to bring the platform and the program to you here without like having any subscriber fees yet. Anyway, just appreciate that, first of all. Secondly, I wanted to kind of as a way just to say thank you, wanted to share some personal insight here. I brought along some pictures of a party. And I thought that'd be kind of fun. Cousin Ralph and Fred. There's a cool party that we're having. If you're listening again to the podcast, I encourage you to go back and watch the Rumble video version, because I'm sharing some pretty. It was remember when Steven there. Remember when he got the drink in the wrong cup, Ron, and it was like, whoa, Stephen, don't be spilling that on Karen, who is standing right there, which is unfortunately, her name is Karen, but she's not really a Karen. But she's kind of cute, right? And then there was, people haven't seen this before, but they're on the right, Betty from accounting.
Oh, Betty.
Oh, Betty from accounting, and her sister Lisa there on the left. Which, again, I've just some nice personal pictures. There's Cindy and her friend Kira over there on the right. And this was a recent party that we had, and it just I thought you'd be interested in finding out what some of the people look like that hang around us here at the Daily Mojo. What do you think, Ron? I mean, are those pretty representative, right? Ron's still scratching his head. He's trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Exactly. Not even that. These look like photos from Vogue magazine or something.
1990s.
Is this really from the 90s?
You want to hear? This will blow your mind. By the way, the episode of today's program is Don't Trust Anything.
Don't trust anything.
Can't trust your eyes. Can't trust your eyes anymore. These pictures, and once you see what I'm going to tell you, once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. These are all photos generated by AI.
There was something weird about the photos, but I couldn't pick it out at all.
Yep. What do you call that? The something valley?
The uncanny valley. That's a little bit different.
Uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Well, but the uncanny valley is the fact that you feel uneasy when you're looking at robots, right? Isn't that part of what the uncanny valley is?
The uncanny valley is if you're watching a movie or even like you're looking at a photograph, but something just doesn't feel right about it, about the person in it.
Well, there you go.
The problem is I didn't question these people. I questioned the way the photograph was taken.
Well, I think you should start questioning the people, and you should start with their fingers.
What the hell?
Take a look at the fingers on these different photos. For those of you listening to the podcast, I will.
Oh, they all have 5 fingers.
Yes, not including the thumb.
Not including the thumb.
All of these photos, again, were generated by AI. That woman right there has I can't even count the number of fingers she has on her
6.
Fingers. Yeah. These are not real people. These are
the hell?
Zeros and ones imagined by AI.
Yeah, but so why did they get the fingers wrong?
That's a good question. I don't know if that was intentional.
What the hell?
Or if perhaps AI just has a problem with hands, much like in Westworld. What was it, the knees? That was it. Jaguar said that was the in the book it was the knees. I think in the movie it was the hands. They couldn't get the hands right. But save for the hands, you wouldn't know these aren't real people if you didn't know these aren't real people. That is terrifying with implications that you can imagine. You cannot trust your eyes anymore. You can't trust what you're seeing to be real and authentic because computers are to the point now where they are so damn smart that they don't it's tough deciding exactly what the hell is real and what isn't. Bill Gates recently did an interview with Tech Times. He says Bill Gates believes AI is the next big tech shift rather than metaverse. He stated he believes artificial intelligence, the next big shift in tech for users, and can be expected in the coming years. However, he does not see the same for Web3 and metaverse, as it wasn't much more than was not much more revolutionary than AI. His stance regarding what will be the next big tech shift will be artificial intelligence. And if he thinks that, you know where he's putting his money. And if he's putting his money into artificial intelligence, there is no way any of us can trust a damn thing we see on the news.
Yep.
You already can't trust.
No, we've seen videos
here.
We've seen videos of newscasters. You and I have looked at them where they is 99.9% real looking.
Yeah. How do we know anything is real look at the crap we're going through right now with the Biden top secret documents, which we'll get here in a second. There are more. There are more documents, more than we knew. We'll also get to, we got Phil Bell coming up this morning at the bottom of the first hour. And, of course, Dan Andros, now that I've mentioned them, neither one they'll probably both bow out, but because I do have the fecal touch. But you can't trust anything that you see. Those AI-generated pictures were on Twitter, and the man that shared them is at Miles Zim. At Miles Zim. Miles Zim is not one of us, likely. He appears to be, hell, he may not even be real himself.
Does he have images like that on his Facebook page?
Yeah, it was a Twitter thread. At Miles Zim, at M,
I see.
well, Miles like it sounds, and Zim, Z-Z-I-M as in Mary. He has a website called zim.dev. He only has 1,700 followers. I decided to follow him. He's obviously a kind of a lefty.
Are all those images that, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, there's some creepy stuff there. But he is using, and I found it interesting that he had a tweet about Alex Jones.
Really?
Alex Jones, of course, just got, in trouble or had a judgment rendered against him for, $1.5 billion because he was a Sandy Hook denier. And the families in Sandy Hook said that he had caused them harm or endangered their lives by saying that Sandy Hook wasn't real and that they had Alex Jones followers come at them and threaten them. I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I've adopted the stance. I wasn't at Sandy Hook. I didn't see anything. I don't know what happened. But he retweeted that, and he's using, he says it's a program called Midjourney. Midjourney is a website and a platform and maybe an app that allows you to create these different images that are fantastic and can be very artful looking. But then by the same point, or by the same token, rather, that's an AI generated image right there. Person, it doesn't say, let's see, what does it say about her? Portrait of a beautiful woman with sunlight streaming through her blinds. Likely not real. And I don't know that all the images on here are not real, but you saw the pictures that Midjourney was able to create.
So a while back, Brad, do you remember when the last Matrix movie was coming out?
Yep.
They did this little promo with Keanu Reeves and the girl who plays Trinity. That was all done in Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
So if you go to unrealengine.com at some point and look, they are getting so close to messing with us, to making it look realistic enough that before long, actors and actresses will be out of a job. If they can,
we said that a couple of years ago. Did we make that point that you're going to be able to make a movie with an actor and the actor is dead?
Yes, and well, they've done that. They've done that several
Star
times.
Wars, but didn't was it Peter Cushing? Who was the
I think so. Peter Cushing in Star Wars.
Quite right.
He didn't, but I didn't know it until after the end of the movie. Now,
right,
her
when
idea.
you saw him, you went but when you saw him, you went, it was a fleeting, because the shots don't linger on the shots.
No, they don't.
There's something not quite right.
But yeah, the Unreal Engine 5, that's the latest one from Epic Games. That's the one that is blowing everybody's mind right now. So.
And that's what they use when they shoot The Mandalorian. They use that in what's called the Volume, this big circular studio that has video screens all the way around in 360, so that they can shoot the actors in this virtual environment, and it looks real. You can't tell what's real and what's not. And they can change the weather in real time. It's crazy. But for instance, with the picture, one of the pictures I just showed you, and I don't know if they did this intentionally, is just kind of one of those things where you could, it's kind of hard to see, but she's wearing craft singles. If you look at the cheese dress. I know, right?
Craft singles.
So again, it's my point being, we don't know when someone is telling the truth anymore and when they're not. And we cannot depend on video surveillance or closed circuit imagery or photographs of a crime with the perpetrator in the scene, because it can be digitally produced. It's scary. And especially with the state of our world as it is, and so many people already not trusting anything, myself included, this just stirs the pot even more. Because this technology is neither good nor bad, but in the wrong hands, it can be used as a weapon. It can be used for good, if in the right hands. And the uncanny valley thing, researchers in Italy, team at the Istituto Italiano di Tecnologia, that's my French accent, in Genoa, shown how a robot's gaze can trick us into thinking we're socially interacting and slow our ability to make decisions, which is trippy. Gaze is an extremely important social signal that we employ on a day-to-day basis when interacting with others. One of the professors there published this piece in the journal called Science Robots. The question is whether the robot gaze will evoke very similar mechanisms in the human brain as another human's gaze would. You know what they say about the eyes?
Yep.
Windows to the soul. The team asked 40 volunteers to play a video game of chicken where each player has to decide whether to allow a car to drive straight towards another car or to deviate to avoid a collision against a humanoid robot sitting opposite them. Between rounds, players had to look at the robot, which would sometimes look back and other times look away. In each scenario, scientists collected data on behavior and neural activity, which detects electrical activity in the brain. Our results show that actually the human brain processes the robot gaze as a social signal, and that signal has an impact on the way we're making decisions, on the strategies we deploy in the game, and also on our responses. I don't know if that has the same effect if you're watching a videotape of someone, or if you have to be right there in the presence of the robot. But imagine if it does, in fact, have the same effect on you if you are simply watching a video of a robot. They can make you trust anything by finding out what the qualities are of eyes that move in a trustworthy way. I mean, we already know things like if you look up and to the left while you're answering a question, you're making lying. Stuff up.
Yeah.
Or
something to that effect.
Or up and to the right, it's something else. Or if you're looking down. So they've studied all this, and they know exactly what to do. The findings have implications on where and how humanoid robots are deployed in the future. Once we understand when robots elicit social attunement, then we can decide in which sort of context this is desirable and beneficial for humans, and in which context this should not occur. Which means they can make us do things that we didn't necessarily want to do. Which, again, should scare the crap out of anybody. And given the state of current affairs in the world, with the Great Reset and the Great Resignation and the jab and the COVID scamdemic and everything else that we're living in the middle of, has incredible implications. Again, if you're new to the program, and we do have a lot of new listeners, people who are sampling the program, this is, it may or may not be the right program for you. We have a unique bunch here. It's not your typical run-of-the-mill, and we're not even just politics, are we?
No, I would say...
They don't even really have a category for us.
Yeah.
We're like off the charts.
I mean, we do have politics that we talk about, and we do lean one direction, but ours is not a political talk show, if you will.
Right. We are so much better than just that.
We are so much better than that.
We are smoking hot.
Oh, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking you and I ought to deep fake somebody on our show one day.
I'm glad you said deep fake.
I did, deep fake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
how so?
Just, I want to be Tom Cruise.
You are. In my book, you are Tom.
Well, thank you. But no, I think
You're welcome.
Deep fake is anytime we see Zelensky or Putin or hell, even Biden on the TV, who the hell knows whether it's being deep faked or not?
Right. Maybe we'll come up with deep fakes for us. You might know the probably one of the best ways to know if we're a deep fake or not is the hat.
Yep.
Because the hat is an important piece of our outfits, our uniforms, and you can be part of the group, part of the cool kids if you go to Mojo Laser Pros. Laser is with an S. MojoLaserPros.com, and you'll find the Mojo 50 and the Daily Mojo snapback trucker cap. Who wants them? Talk to Teddy Bear.
Trucker cap. Who wants them?
Trucker cap. Who wants it? Talk to Teddy Bear. And that's, of course, a reference to, if you remember Bob and Tom.
I do.
Tom.
Yep.
It's Bob. Bob is no longer on the program, but it's still Bob and Tom. But I can't remember. Is it Joel Lindley? I think it's Joel Lindley did. Trucker clock. Who wants it? Talk to Teddy Bear.
All right.
In any event, you can get the hat over at Mojo Laser Pros. Again, part of the proceeds of this particular hat go to keep us on the air. We don't have big corporate sponsors. It should be obvious. But so we're beholden to no one except ourselves. And we have a unique, I say it's unique. There are a lot of people who feel the same way we do. We're just tired of the crap out there. We just want to live our lives and be free from government encumbrance or encumbrances. We don't want the government in our lives. Well, to the minimal amount possible, because it's been proven that this government is crooked and corrupt. Let us just do our thing. We know taxes are a necessary evil, but not necessarily in the form that they are now. And we know that America has the potential to once again rise to be the greatest nation on earth. Boy, they're doing their best to knock it off the perch, though.
No shit.
These people.
By the way, Mojo Laser Pros now has Valentine's stuff on its webpage. So.
Does it really?
Yeah.
If you see if I can go to the front page. Mojo laserpros.com. And right there, look at all that Valentine's Day stuff. Oh, you decided to do the acrylic lamps. Good for you.
Yeah. So the Valentine's gift ideas are in that red bar. I mean, they show up in the bottom as well. But the cool thing that we put those two out yesterday, and I freaking love those roses, dude. Because those roses you can buy individually, or you can buy the whole dozen, but they are engraved with the words on them, kind of like what we did before, only a little bit different. It's a better file, better rose.
Right.
But look at those.
And those are wood. Oh, I thought
they're wood.
I thought those were
they're 2-layer wood.
I thought they were metal.
No.
That is very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Great work. So go to mojolaserpros.com, find something for you. In the meantime, if you want to be a part of the program, and we pride ourselves on listener and family participation, because we are one big dysfunctional family, use the hashtag What I Learned Today. You can tag us in said posts at Real Ron Phillips, at Real Brad Staggs. And see over on the Twitters, Rebel Patriot says, I thought it was Red Sovine that did Teddy Bear. He may have done that song, but I think it was Joel Lindley who did Trucker Clock Who Wants It. It's a hysterical piece. Let me lay on top of you out of respect for the way you handle your rig. I tell you, over the Christmas holiday, that Bob Kavoyan responded to a tweet.
Oh no!
I went all fanboy on.
Did you really?
Of
course
Bob
you did.
Kavoyan. He's funny. Dang it, Chris, Minister of Truth, Real Brad Staggs got lost in the robot's eyes. How does the robot have sex? Now, does the robot have sexy feet? No. No one.
No, if it's
Let me say
jacked
this.
up like those freaking robot fingers.
Yeah, if they have like 8 robot toes, no. And I dare you. I challenge you to find a pair of sexy feet and show them to me, because I don't think they exist.
Oh, see, now you've screwed
Misty-
up.
Missy 13, they want to destroy our souls, whatever makes us human. Welcome back, Missy 13. Hope everything is okie dokie. Bugs Mom, how can I not see everyone in the feed? How come I cannot see everyone in the feed? We have a lot of people over in the Rumble feed right now. And again, thank you
Do we?
for the
Yeah,
sampling.
thank you.
Yeah. And Jerome over in the Facebook chat room says, we're all effing guinea pigs for their testing curiosity. We are. We do seem to be a bunch of guinea pigs. Everything that the great ruling class wants to test, they do, of course, test on us. Real quick before we take a smidgen of a break and get to Phil Bell on the other side, just say a few prayers for Hal J., a friend over at WBAP. I do sit in for Rick Roberts over on WBAP, but Hal J is part of the morning show. He is in need of a heart transplant, so he's, I guess, in the hospital currently, awaiting said transplant. So if you wouldn't mind, just send up a few words of hope, encouragement, and
he's a good man.
And good spirits. Yeah, Hal J, good guy over at BAP. In the meantime, this is your Daily Mojo.
Happily promoting the 4 F's. Freedom, faith, free markets, and
We are clear. All right, Phil Bell, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Doing all right, sir. Can you pull your camera down just a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Thank you.
Now you can see the USA one
That's all right.
in the back there.
And turn it just a little bit. Kind of put yourself back in the center.
That way?
A little more.
How's that?
There you go. Perfect.
Phil,
right.
tell him to
Phil,
kiss a good man's ass.
I'm going to ask. I'm sorry. Turn it a little bit more. I'm looking at a screen that needs to have you centered in it. Sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
How's that?
Keep going. Or slide right. One of the two.
Like, well, I can always slide right. I mean, that's
all right. Right
without a
there,
doubt.
buddy. Right there. No.
All right.
Yep. That's perfect. Thank you. I'm sorry, but thank you.
No problem.
Wow.
Like I said, you can see the USA one back there, like Chevy and apple pie and mom and everything else. Unless mom is a
Baseball,
Democrat.
hot dogs.
Apple pie and Chevy.
There you go. You're not old enough to know that one.
Oh, well, I found it because there were a few times they replayed it when I was a little bit younger, and I thought it was just the coolest thing. And I love Chevrolet, so I drive a Dodge truck, but I have a Chevy, I have a Corvette. Mine does not have classified documents next to it, by the way.
You have a Corvette?
I do.
Oh,
it's
nice.
a 93.
What year?
I haven't driven it in a while, but it's there.
All right. Let
30
me.
seconds.
What do you want to hit on this morning? I'll get you there. I have a couple things I want to run at you first.
I want to talk about Biden and gas stoves. Everybody's favorite.
Cool. All right. Stand by.
All right.
15. Okay, here we go.
on Mojo 50 Radio. The Daily Mojo.
All right, in the Twitterverse right now, Dr. Mojo Martian. Again, the hashtag what I learned today, Real Brad Staggs and Real Ron Phillips aren't beholden to anyone, but if you pay enough, you can see them beholden each other. I see what he did there. See, it was a B. It was a, I meant to, that's not what I meant. That's more of a rim shot.
And it's really not a bad thing. I've thought about it over the years, and I'm okay with it now. So
you get to a point in time where you're just like, you don't care what people think.
No.
You just don't give a damn. I also had a little bit of a Twitter interaction yesterday with what turned out to be a pretty hard lefty. And I'm going to get to that here in just a few, but it was one of those, I agreed with something Bridget Gabriel said.
Oh, really?
And then I got attacked for agreeing with something Bridget Gabriel said because the left hates Bridget Gabriel. It's like, you better check and see who you're agreeing with. I'm like, well, does it matter who if they say something that I agree with, does it matter who they are? We'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. First, however, let's welcome in Phil Bell. He is the Director of External Affairs at freedomworks.org. And Phil, you're looking good today.
Thank you. Thank you. And
You're
as always,
very
you got
welcome.
one of those great shirts on and giving everybody the right message.
Exactly. Remember when conspiracy theorists were the outcasts? Now I'm not so sure. Couple of things I wanted to run by you because
Leo now, right?
No kidding. Oh, by the way, there is is it on Hulu or is it HBO? There is a documentary on Miss Cleo.
I've heard about
fabulous.
that. I have to watch it. I was never really one of the crazy people, that went down the road of tarot cards or anything like that. I always thought that was one of the stupidest things in the world. But I always remember in college seeing her commercials, and we would always laugh at them because, it's 3 a.m., you've had a few beers. Of course, you're going to laugh at Miss Cleo. So I'm going to watch this documentary.
She had a fascinating background, and it's the documentary is well worth the time. Over at Just the News, there is an article I wanted to run by you because this is just so typical of government. The headline, Social Security relying on an outdated occupational directory despite a $250 million outlay for a new database. So the Social Security Administration reportedly denies thousands of disability claims per year because, as they say, that there are jobs available people just aren't taking. Jobs like inspecting dowels, processing eggs, and sorting nuts. They've got this job directory that they've been depending on now since the 70s, and they've been delegated all of this money in the budget, and they haven't updated their database. And this just seems so typical of a government agency. What happened? What happened to the money? Where'd the money go?
Yeah, well, first of all, that's an example of what happens when you operate in an environment where there's no accountability whatsoever. Because you got to think about realistically. When you have, and this is one of the reasons why I always question why people are so enthusiastic about government benefits and want to rely on government benefits. The government doesn't have to listen to you. Yeah. We go through this whole song and dance all the time about government being accountable. And to a certain extent, the elected officials are accountable because if something happens, we can throw them out. But the people who are part of the Social Security Administration and go there on a daily basis, they really don't. So if you get your claim denied and they say, well, you could, and by the way, another one of these jobs out here that I think is funny, sack repairer, and call out what I don't know what
right.
Yeah.
These are crazy.
Phil, you could be a sack repairer, not get on disability here.
Right.
They do this and they don't care. And think about it this way. All of the people, the humans that are actually interacting with these claims, they have not heard of these jobs either. They have not ever attempted to do these jobs. They don't know, and yet they're willing to sit there and read from their script that says, okay, yep, that's fine, okay. Your claim is denied, and go right on about their day, collect their paycheck, and go home. That's the reason. That's one of the biggest reasons why, if you're a liberal Democrat, if you believe in government quote unquote services, you should rethink that.
Yeah, big time. You could be a film touch-up inspector, a tube operator, a telephone quotation clerk. The nut sorter is still my favorant. But it's just, again,
I'm still trying to figure out
typical.
sack repairer.
Yeah,
no, it's not a transgender thing, is it?
Might be.
Now, look, let's be fair. I shoot film. This is actual film that I've shot. This is slide film. So there might be someone that needs to touch this up. If they're, I'm happy to do this as a side job, just in case anybody needs
respect. Do you really still do you shoot film?
I do. Kodak, Fuji,
Good for you.
Name whatever I can get my hands on.
Good for you. I remember the days in photo class. What the hell do we call it? I was going to say Photoshop, but that wasn't what it was called. Going into the dark room with the stop bath and taking a good whiff of, is it the stop bath that if you take a big sniff of it, it'll knock you on your butt? Is that the one?
See, that's the one thing I don't know. I've never done my own development, not yet. That's actually my plan for 2023. Yeah, because I spend so much. Most of the money I earn, I actually give to the photo store, one of the few that you can go to develop all these pictures. So yeah, that's my plan for 23 is to start my own darkroom.
You'll love it. You will love it. All right, so let's talk about this. The recent brouhaha in the press that AOC has been credited with being a cheerleader for, and that is the gas stoves. And is this a legit situation where the government considered banning, or it's on their radar to ban gas stoves because they put off, fumes in a house? They're a leading cause of X, Y, and Z. Or is this a manufactured situation?
Oh, it's real. It's very much real. Number one way you can tell it's real is because Politico and the other, so-called Washington news organizations have come out and put out pieces to deny that it's real. But the place this comes from is the fact that it's been happening in a variety of locales across the country, mostly coastal locales such as, and I believe New York City is one, I think Philadelphia. There have been a few, and I got to make sure I get that list right. But what they've done is they've said after a certain point, you won't be able to have a gas stove, gas furnace, and so on, or oil either. So what they've been trying to do is, quote unquote, electrify apartments and houses and so forth, starting with new construction. So this is for a variety of reasons. The number one reason that they like to say is the climate change hoax. They want to say that, you having your gas stove and enjoying your food the way you want it to is contributing to the so-called man-made climate change. And now the latest that they've added is they're trying to start using the idea of emissions being detrimental inside the house. And they're talking about, we don't regulate indoor air quality. Of course you don't regulate indoor air quality. I'm in the house. You aren't. You can't come in with your government goons and tell me what the air is going to be like in here. But if you notice, has been said, that is just yet another example of the camel's nose getting under the tent. So what you absolutely need to be concerned with is it will start in some places that are extreme that you and I don't live and don't want to live. And, that's the little funny thing they're doing over there in New York or Philadelphia. Then you hear some kind of a rumbling like this, which is actually very big rumbling. And they'll pull it back and say, no, we didn't really want to do that. Come on, that's just the right wingers being crazy. And next thing you know, it's getting slipped into a large omnibus bill like we've known that even some Republicans have voted for. So this is absolutely a threat.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, like you said, over at Politico right now, and they even attribute this to the right, what the right's gas stove freakout was really about.
Right.
And it's funny, right. And they attribute it to the right, the political right, which is funny because why would it be just, I would think anybody who enjoys cooking on a gas stove, and I would imagine that there are people on the left that enjoy cooking on a gas stove as well, would also be a little concerned about a government ban on a tool, a piece of equipment that they enjoy using and that they've used for years. Right. So the fact that they attribute it to the right, it does mean it's a bit of a political football. And as you said, that this is just part of the whole, the fossil fuel, the anti-fossil fuel movement.
Right. That's a big part of it. What I've seen suggested, and I think it's very interesting, usually in just some of the memes and whatnot that are out there, but it does give you pause to think about, is that, some of the things, coal, gas, wood, right, they're much harder for somebody to automatically turn on and off, right? Now, granted, with a gas stove, you will have electrical ignition. So to a certain extent, you could, stop the electricity and, limit the ability to ignite it. But in general, it makes it a lot harder to control your ability to use it. And then when you go back to smart meters, which was a big thing that we haven't heard much about lately, but was a big push about 10 years ago, what does that do? that gives remote authority the ability to control your device. Ostensibly in the name, first they say in the name of keeping your bill low, but later on in the name of controlling climate change or whatever other lie that they make up. So yeah, an electric stove is a lot easier to be plugged into your smart home. And then when they say, well, you shouldn't be cooking at 2 a.m., so we're just going to turn that off to lower the demands on the grid. And then suddenly you're not cooking at 2 a.m. Or even worse, I saw what you posted on Facebook the other day. Your social credit score has been dinged. Yeah, we'll just be turning that off.
And it's sad, really, because when the internet-based thermostats and things like that, the utility company had said, you put one of these in and we'll give you X% credit, whatever it was, which sounds great. It's kind of like the car insurance. You plug this little device into your OBD2 sensor, and we'll give you, a 20% discount on your auto insurance. But they're watching you at every moment, and they can, sorry, you went 3 miles over the speed limit for 4 consecutive days. You're out of here.
I am so out on that, dude. Misty tried to get us to do that, and I'm like, no, I'm not okay with it.
But it sounds like such a great deal, right? I mean, all I got to do is put this little device in my car, and I'm saving 20%. It sounds tempting until you realize that, the forces that can be in control of it might use it for, I don't know, bad things, like everything else.
Yeah. Well, and think, too, what happens if you drive that car? And by the way, it's great you know about OBD2. Thank the Lord. My Corvette, not Biden's, but mine only has OBD1. What happens when you drive it to the barbecue joint? What happens when you drive it to another place? Wouldn't that be easy for now your health insurance provider, which most certainly at some point will be networked with your car insurance provider, to say, you're engaging in risky behavior. Now we're going to raise your rates, or you've been there too many times. We're cutting you off.
When stores like Kroger, they have the Kroger card and all that, and all of the grocery stores do that. And I've been, I've had a Kroger card forever, and I know the risks may outweigh the benefits, but I've often said that they're going to, one day when you go in for heart bypass or whatever it is, your insurance company pulls up your Kroger history and says, oh, man, look at all the eggs and the red meat you've been, and the hamburgers, you've risky behavior. We're not covering your bypass. So again, it depends on who has the information. Yeah. Oh, that's really? True. You hadn't thought about that one? That's
a great point. In fact, the way to get around that is, I'm sorry, I forgot my card. Usually they will almost always give you the discount.
Bogus number. I learned that one a long time ago. Just make up a bogus number and you'll still, and some bogus email address. Whew. I'm starting to sound like Dan Andros. Real quickly, I want to get your take on the classified document situation that seems to be never ending surrounding our president and the locate. It's like we're going to find out next he had documents hidden somewhere in the bathroom because they keep finding these different documents. What's your take on what's going on?
Well, look, the strange part about it is it seems like for whatever reason, the Democrats have now decided to say, well, yes, this is a bad thing. And I actually don't think it's because they strictly want to continue using this as a cudgel against Trump. I do think it may have something to do with setting the stage for Biden to go and not be their nominee in 2024. Because now you have something that could say, well, we really harassed Trump over this. We should be fair and harass Biden too. We know they're not fair. We know they don't care. We know from the Sandy Berger situation, the classified documents don't mean anything to them. He actually stuffed them down his pants. And for those who don't remember, he was an employee of Democrat President Bill Clinton. That's why we call him Sandy Burglar. So it doesn't matter to them. But I think this might be a way that they could start to ease Biden out, or at least set that stage.
Right. Starting to eat their own. All right. Phil Bell, the Director of External Affairs at Freedomworks, give us a good reason why people need to go over and get involved with Freedomworks.
Well, it's simple. Are you sick of Democrat hypocrisy? Are you sick of the far left deciding there's racism behind every tree? Are you worried that they might come for your gas stove? Because they will. Go to freedomworks.org today. Sign up to be part of a freedom team. We are creating them all across the country. You can be the person, one of the people that stops this permanently, and tell your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids that you were part of it. Freedomworks.org.
Cool. Appreciate it, my friend. We will talk again very, very soon.
All
See you,
right.
Phil.
Well, have a great week. Thank you.
You
Take
too.
it easy.
All right, there he is, Phil Bell over at freedomworks.org. And again, a great bunch of people to get involved with, because they really are fighting for freedom. And if we ever needed a group to fight for freedom, we need it right now. It's crazy what's happening to our liberties. And we're the frogs in the boiling pot of water. And it's getting really, really warm.
It's just It's crazy to listen to the news right now because of all this stuff that's come out about Biden and the document so close, relatively close after Trump's, and how everything spun. I mean,
I know. It completely different situation.
Completely different situation.
Different.
And what was his name? Adam Schiff came out yesterday and said, "I'm going to reserve judgment." My ass. You didn't reserve judgment on Trump. You're not reserving judgment. I think you guys are all ganging up on Biden now because you don't want him to run in 24. I get that.
And you would think that they could, since they made the deal with him to begin with, to run for office back, during the primaries, that they could go to him and say, all right, we're good. We're good now. We're going to move on to somebody else. But apparently, Mr. Biden is being a little obstinate behind the scenes, and by God, he's going to remain in power. That's what I would
look. They've got too much stuff on him and his son to allow him to remain in power. If he wants to try to push it, good luck, and we'll see that. We'll know when that happens.
Oh yeah, and we've got ripped some audio from Steve Bannon's War Room. Because we're not proud, we'll take content from anywhere we can get it. With Christina Bobb, the attorney for Trump 2024. We'll get to that here in a second. First, though, preparewithmojo50.com is the website where you will find all the things you need for when the fit truly does hit the shan. And it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Well, I'm not going to need emergency food. I'm not going to need that. They're going to cut off the food supply. How quickly we forget. Remember the supply chain disruptions, the toilet paper shortage now in Arizona. One community has had their water supply cut off. We've got that story coming up. It's just, you cannot depend on anything anymore. And having an emergency food supply just makes good sense. Our grandparents did it. And maybe some of even our parents did it. But it's just a good idea to have food standing by in case you can't get your hands on any. And in the case of preparewithmojo50.com, you can get this 3-month emergency food supply, less than $600. This stuff will last for 25 years. So it doesn't matter if the apocalypse or the emergency or whatever happens next week, next year, in 10 years. It's going to last 25 years. Plus, right now, you get these 4 free water filters, the personal water filters from Survival Spring. That's a $99 value. And these things work. Again, you have to get over the psychological stumbling block of sucking water out of a stream. But once you do that, you're all right. I'd recommend, getting the jug first, scooping it up out of the stream or whatever, refrigerating it, and then sucking it through the straw. Of course, that does kind of defeat the whole idea of having the straw out there in the wilderness, but it's just the warm water does not taste right to me. Even though you should drink warm water.
Yeah, I don't like warm water.
I don't either, but you're better off drinking warm, like body temperature water than you are drinking cold water. Because your body has to go ahead and it's kind of a shock to your system when you drink cold water.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, but I thought if you're drinking cold water, did your body, to warm it up, burns more calories? I don't know. It's just something I had heard.
Could be a shock.
Yeah.
Jumping into cold water when it's, look what that does to almost gives you a heart attack. I mean, not like the jab.
Well, jumping into cold water or taking a cold shower.
Right. There's a reason they say take a cold
There is a
shower.
reason, yeah.
You know, when you're
Your
feeling
body has to work harder to warm it up. So
yes, it does. All right. So the Biden situation right now, even more, not just the ones in the garage, but now they've found more classified documents in a room off the garage. It's like a treasure hunt. And what were they doing? What were his attorneys doing looking for these to begin with? I mean, these attorneys are pretty high-priced attorneys. I think Bannon said at one point they were $2,500 an hour. That is a high-priced attorney.
That's
expensive,
dude.
Yeah. Why are they sorting through? Anybody who's ever been divorced knows how expensive attorneys are. But why are they out there? Why were they rifling through boxes to begin with? And Christina Bobb, who was on The War Room with Steve Bannon over on Real America's Voice, she posits a few theories.
It's a cleanup job. There's no reason for her to be out there other than they are trying to cover up something else. And if you have Adam Schiff and the New York Times and CNN and all these Democrats saying, oh, his inadvertent mishandling of classified documents, they're all singing that song, it lets you know that's the cover-up. That's not the actual story. So I don't think the actual story has come out yet. We need to figure out what's going on there, what happened with all of this. You know, who had access to those documents? What did they see? The fact that it's about Ukraine is extremely, extremely interesting, given how pertinent Ukraine is, not just today, but how important it was in Donald Trump's administration. That was the first impeachment hoax with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. And then now you've got the United States has sent close to $100 billion over to the Ukraine. And of course, the Hunter Biden laptop says 10% for the big guy. Is Joe Biden getting kickbacks from this? What's happening to the money? There's been no oversight. So there's a lot of questions here. And I don't believe for a second that the media is telling the story honestly.
Because, again, don't trust anything. It does make you wonder what the real story is. Is it, in fact, what we've been talking about with the administration or the deep state, the powers that really be, are trying to get rid of Joe Biden, try to keep him out of office in 2024? Or is it something even bigger? I mean, at this point, who the hell knows? Anything is on the table.
Yeah.
And she also went on to say, what essentially these committees, like Jim Jordan, what committee is he in charge of now? Is it the intelligence?
No. Hang on, I'll tell you.
Doesn't mean. Yeah. Whatever committee Jim Jordan is now in charge of, I can't keep them all straight. What they need to do to make sure that we, the truth is uncovered.
Judiciary Committee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He is House Judiciary Committee. So he's like the chairman, and he is the go-to guy now he's the one that will bring all of the investigations and the lawsuits and stuff like that.
All right. And they may or may not. Who knows? We have yet to see what this new crop of new age politicians is going to do. I mean, I hope they continue on the same trajectory and clean things up, but we honestly, we don't know. So this is Christina Bobb's take on what needs to be done.
American people can see that this is not just a simple case of inadvertently leaving classified documents in a garage. This is a very serious village issue, and we need to understand what happened. So they have to actually come up with some answers. And I think it's incumbent. I know your viewers are very informed and very active. Every single one of your viewers should be calling their member of Congress, calling their representatives and their senators, saying, we want to know the truth about this. And the American people need to continue to push, because the executive branch, the Biden administration, has proven that they're willing to thumb their nose at the American people and ignore their concerns. And so the American people need to stand up, get loud, and push back to the point that they can't ignore it anymore, because they're going to try to continue to railroad us. They're going to try to continue these power grabs. They're going to try to politicize and weaponize the federal government, continuing to go after parents at school board meetings and Donald Trump because he's their strongest political opponent. And we have to push back, and we're counting on House oversight, House judiciary, to really lead the charge on that and just not give up. Keep going until we get the answers.
Can I just say that Donald Trump hires smoking hot babes?
He does for his attorneys. There's no question.
Man.
If you've got the money Donald Trump has, then you can do that too, right?
You can do, and yet they call him a misogynist and everything else.
But everybody that has ever been asked, every woman that has ever worked for him that's ever been asked says, no, this is the best job I've ever had.
Right. They his detractors, they can't stand him. And it's because when Joe Biden became president, I really did. I had a visceral reaction. It's not so much anymore, and I don't know why. I don't know why it's kind of worn off, but I had the same visceral reaction to Joe Biden because he's so schmarmy. And people would say Trump is schmarmy too, and that's why they just couldn't stand him. I get the feeling. I understand the feeling that they have about Trump. I don't get that from him, but I get it from Biden. And I was having a discussion yesterday. I'd call it a discussion. It was just a back and forth when I responded to something Bridget Gabriel said. She said, it's amazing how Joe Biden lies at a higher frequency than George Santos, yet no Democrats are calling for Biden to resign from office. And all I replied and said, great point. That I got Mother Baus, B-A-U-S. Maybe you should check her past to see who you are agreed with. And I said, what does it matter if I agree with the statement?
Yep.
If Hitler said the sky is blue, and I go, yep, I agree. You're right.
It's a blue sky, yeah.
It's
that doesn't mean you agree with everything he does or says.
Right. Then she responded, why would you agree with someone who denies her real name and heritage? The fact that you believe that statement after Trump's presidency is disturbing enough. I said, that makes no sense, but thanks for playing. And then she talked about Trump lying. And I said, name 3 lies. And she did. She named 3 lies. Letters where Mexico will pay for the wall. And he did. He said that Mexico would pay for the wall. And when he said that, I'm like, only a couple cases of COVID and they'll be gone in a few days. Alabama was going to be hit with a hurricane, used Sharpie to alter the weather map, and claimed that the head of Boy Scouts called him on speech. They denied it. And I looked at those, I went, well, those are some earth-shattering lies right there, aren't they?
If they're even lies.
Right, yeah. And I looked into it. We'll see what happens next. And new news on the jab. Yeah, I said new news. Next on your Daily Mojo.
Clear.
New news.
New news.
We have new news. Have you seen this observer effect? The fact that by watching something, you change, like by watching particles, you change their behavior just by watching them?
No.
It's quantum mechanics, and it's freaky because it's light moved in waves until someone watched it, and then it behaves like particles. It's really bizarre. Not as bizarre as like Corinne Jean-Pierre, but close.
The Kremlin claims it doesn't target residential buildings, but world leaders are condemning the strike. I'm Ben Thomas.
Happened at a block party in Fort Pierce, Florida.
Wow.
8 people shot.
Good point. Running, lifting, jackhole. Donald Trump hires smoking hot babes. Rudy Giuliani. All right. You're right.
Eyewitness Charlie Frank Matthews talking with WPBF TV. Police say all of the victims were adults rushed to the hospital for treatment, including one person in critical condition, and there have been no arrests. Police in Central California hunting for at least...
Wow, clock tower drunk, bitchy.
Found in a house in Goshen, about 35 miles south of Fresno.
Look at these people.
Well, apparently some Democrats find it troubling, a lack of transparency and hypocrisy in President Biden's handling of classified documents. One of those Democrats, retiring Senator Debbie Stabenow,
let's see if I do this.
Mr. Biden's
What
conduct
if I...
has been, quote, certainly embarrassing. It was just 4 months ago that Biden announced.
What if I downvoted our Rumble? Right now,
You mean give it a thumbs down?
Thumbs down, just for the hell of it. Yeah.
Would you not be then the asshole that we talked about the other day?
I can play the part. Okay. I loved the deacon said at my nephew's funeral, despite us being Catholic, he was in Vietnam. He saw many young men die. What beautiful words he said to our family. I don't know. Yeah. 800-709-4395. Missy, I am so sorry that happened.
If you've got an ED problem, now you can get generic or herbal blue pills for as little as
Did he said a VD problem?
ED.
You have a VD problem? Oh, ED.
Yeah.
Woman performs oral sex to stall armed robber at gas station until police arrived. Whoa.
Oh, that's thinking on your knees.
Steve Kirsch newsletter. The FAA is very quietly, tacitly admitting that the EKGs of pilots are no longer normal. We should be concerned, very concerned.
I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated number 1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call.
What did I say we were going to do next? I forgot. Good for you.
No.
Good for you. You don't remember.
No, I do remember. I'm sorry.
Just admit it. You're getting old.
I am. It's something you said we were going to get. I mean, it was something. It was something you said at the beginning of the show. Damn it!
You know, it's what you said we were going to get to. Yes.
All right.
51. High capacity, fully automatic, large caliber, Freedom. The Daily Mojo. Mothership has landed.
COVID.
Wow, and look how fast we got to the second hour of the podcast. See? This is working. Comments from yesterday's program. Unfolding Joker said, LOL, Ron, I'm right there with you. And Bard says, bang, you're dead. You never know where he's going to go with something. Take all those butt jokes and stories, for example.
True.
You don't know where I'm going to go.
COVID jab. That's what you told me you were going to go to.
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Julie Mankey says, I watched The Secrets of Playboy last night. Hugh Hefner was a sick monster. Glad he's dead.
He was a sick guy for a long, long time.
The girls who were in, was it The Girls Next Door? Holly and whatever, the rest of them.
Yeah.
They traded. I mean, they did X for Y. And then to come back out now and say, well, I was never very comfortable, but you did it.
You did it, yeah.
You know, you decided at the time it was a great. Now, you may in retrospect think, well, I didn't make but you made the deal. I don't have much sympathy for them when that happens. That doesn't mean that Hugh Hefner wasn't a monster. Spins says they built a state based in Shaggy and Scoob, California, talking about Velma, the new HBO cartoon that is, boy, when you look at the trending topics yesterday on Twitter, Velma was one of them, and people are not being kind to that show. They do not like it. It's not funny. I haven't seen it. I maybe should just try to watch an episode of it because
you said HBO? HBO.
I did the same thing with the Harry and Meghan thing. I got through maybe half an episode.
I did too. Maybe I got through 2 episodes and I'm like, nah.
And you like the Royals.
I do, and I am reading his book. Yeah.
About his frostbitten penis?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm at like chapter 22 or 23. So, yeah.
It's okay. Roger Rabbit interesting way. It's got some 9s in there and 3s. Says, who can I speak with about the homoerotic photos in my hotel room? When I checked in, the woman at the desk said it was Brad's favorite room. I either need a room change or extra towels to cover the art. And I did tell him, make sure you call room service. They will get right on you on that one. Because at the Desert Air Motel, we aim to please. And then Team Pull My Finger commented, first time here, awkward AF, 2 minutes, bye-bye.
Sweet.
Right. I responded, bye, Felicia. And which, of course, Stunt Brain wouldn't, approve of because it's a leftover from a bygone era. Then Team Pull My Finger responded, I stuck around and followed Karen. I don't know what that means, but I said, okay, I think. So you see, we do have, we have great audience participation here. And dang it, Chris, Minister of Truth over on the Twitter says 98% of incumbents reelected to Congress in 2022. New crop of congressional reps where? I'm referring to the Gateses and the Boberts and all of that. Chip Roy. And this is where I have a hard time. I agree with term limits, and I disagree with people becoming professional politicians. But can you get anything done in one term? And if the bad guys, if the ne'er-do-wells are going to have more than one term, you got to have the same on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Now, is there more of a chance that they get corrupted the longer they stay there? Yeah, absolutely. But it's the game. And until they introduce term limits, problem with term limits is if you get that big a turnover in Congress, then who's really running the machine? Then it's really the deep state. It's the people who are there that we didn't elect. I don't know. It's a conundrum. We may never fix. It's an ongoing battle, I guess, is the way I finally come to realize. This is not a battle we're going to win. There's not an end date. It's going to be a constant battle. All we can hope is to keep the pendulum somewhere in the middle. And it was a clock tower drunk. Seems like all the tweet readings won't be till the 3rd hour of the show. Well, blocked. Just kidding, Clock Tower. Did Clock Tower Drunk delete that? Silly. Don't ever delete that. Never delete a tweet unless I've only deleted a tweet if I put the wrong information in it and I realized it just as I had tweeted it. And then I'll delete. But otherwise, the internet is forever. They're going to find you.
Correct.
Doesn't really matter. Jeremy Renner, who was run over by the snowplow, his own snowplow back in, was it early January? It was January something. Anyway, it's either late December, early January. They're saying it was much worse than we were ever told.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Snowcat.
This guy's got a fetish for those snowplow things.
Well, he lives in Tahoe.
He's got like 6 or 8 of them, and he takes pictures of them and posts them on his Instagram, I think. And
some people get off on weird stuff.
And quite honestly, when somebody says that he had a snow blower accident, because that's what it was originally, they didn't say snow plow. And I'm thinking he's out there pushing a snow blower and he puts his hand in the blades or something. No.
Or trips over and falls.
Dude gets run over by a tank.
6.5 ton snowplow. It ran over him. He's trying to get back in it because he forgot to put it in. Forgot the emergency brake. I guess things rolling, and he gets up on there. I would imagine he either got up on the treads or tried to get up on the treads. Slipped.
Well, the treads are so wide on these things that you end up having to take 2 steps on the treads just to get into the cab.
Much worse than anybody knows. He suffered extreme difficulty breathing. He was bleeding heavily from his head. The right side of his chest collapsed as his upper torso was crushed by the vehicle. This is according to the 911 log obtained by TMZ. Damage to his chest was so substantial it had to be reconstructed in surgery. It may take 2 years for him to make a full recovery.
Wow.
So,
were they doing any shooting for Mission Impossible, or is he even in those anymore? I don't know.
Beats me.
Yeah. Or was it Marvel, or I think he's a Marvel character. So.
All right. And then, so obviously he could use some prayers to get better. And then continuing on our theme from yesterday, the MILF Manor new program on the Learning Channel, which is, was it 7, 8 women, middle-aged women? Okay, can we dispel that myth first of all? If you're 50, you're not middle-aged unless you're going to live to be 100.
Correct. Middle age is like 35 now, 35.
Yeah, that's middle age, 35-ish. So if you're old, which we are, both in our 50s, it was these old women who, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being old. I'm just saying, let's call a spade a spade. These old women who are
cougars,
all hot and bothered.
Yeah. Cougarish, let's say.
Can you be a cougar and be that old?
I don't know. What's the next step?
I don't know.
Lioness? I don't know. That's, I mean, when it comes when it comes down to it, that's,
and they're attractive. Don't get me wrong, but
most of them are.
Yeah. Some of them look like they've had a little too
better
much
days.
surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got their pick of the litter of these 7 Utes, 7 or 8 Utes. But it turns out the twist in the program is that all of the Utes are the sons of one of the mothers, one of the MILFs.
One of the other, yeah.
Which is like, what twisted meeting did that come out of?
I don't know, dude. It'll get ratings. That's the thing. It's trashy TV, and people like that shit.
I will likely take a look at it. But along those same lines, down in Florida, a mother and son, let's see here, 28-year-old Glenn Jan Zuniga and his 52-year-old mother, Amparo Latin Barrias, were arrested for running a brothel together out of a South Florida home. That's got to be a little awkward, you and your mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, can you picture you and your mom,
No.
clean up in room 4. We're going to need some more bleach. One sex worker alleged she was paid by how many condoms were used by the end of her shift.
Oh, no.
That's a stupid way of doing it.
No.
Why would you pick that as a way to get paid? Under surveillance and by deploying fake Johns, authorities said that the two were running the brothel, allegedly. The mother was reportedly in charge of working the door and accepting cash payments. An arrest affidavit reportedly states that Johns, for those of you who are living under a rock somewhere, which no offense if you are living under a rock, I have no problem with that, known as clients of sex workers, would come in and fork over $50 before they were handed $50? That's all? Man, times have changed. Next, they'd choose a commercial sex worker and go into a room where they'd hand over the card and engage in a $50? Wait a minute. What is this? Each encounter had it's a 15-minute limit. So it's like those video games where you're getting into the video game.
And then
it's
they
50
go,
cents,
blip.
and it's like
please deposit 2 more quarters. Thank you.
And you are scrambling to look for the quarters. I need $50 more. A sex worker found by detectives at the brothel accused Barrias of telling her she had to work 3 days a week, in which she was paid $25 for every customer. They were getting screwed. Sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, our innuendo bell for those new to the program is, when something sounds like an innuendo or maybe has a double entendre, we ring the bell. I haven't been ringing it much lately. My bad.
The object of ringing the bell, though, is to not necessarily discuss the innuendo, but to ring the bell and move on. We don't do that. We just ring the bell and then talk about the freaking innuendo.
Well, you have to explain it to the new crop of people who are joining us
Which you're
again.
doing every show. I mean, so it's okay.
I know. Do you notice how on the day before, Friday, we had like 26,000 people watching the program. And then Monday, it was only like 11,000.
Yeah.
Did that many people go, ooh, not for me?
Because we were on the edit. What do you call it?
The editor picks.
The editor picks again.
Yeah. Whatever that is.
Yeah. But then again, Monday was a holiday, dude. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Not a lot of people listen to the radio, I guess.
Maybe we touched that many people. She also reportedly said she averaged between 8 and 10 customers each day, would only get paid by the number of condoms used. Woman also told detectives there was another brothel next door that was considered a separate business, although the authorities suspect the mother and son also involved in the second. So they had that's smart business practice. You make it look like you have competition, and yet you are running both businesses.
Like a franchise brothel.
Yeah. Franchise. You know, that used to, when the mob ran it, they were franchise brothels, essentially.
Okay.
You mean you ran it for the mob? And what was the place in Nevada? The Bunny Ranch.
Bunny Ranch.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I don't think it exists anymore.
It wasn't mob run, was it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The guy, there was a show about it, and I don't know if at one time, who knows? Now, there are those who say that the mob is still in Vegas, but probably not. Probably not. Now, if you don't want to, if you want to stay out of trouble and yet still have the comfort, nope, there's really no good way to transition into this. I'm just going to go for it. MyPillow.com. And they have the body pillows on sale right now at MyPillow.com. You can get those for less than $40 with the promo code Mojo50. Don't forget, when you go to MyPillow.com, you click on the radio listeners specials, and then you'll find the entire list of good stuff, from dog beds to sheets, couch pillows, the throw blankets, all kinds of good stuff. I can vouch for the towels. I can vouch for the slippers and the sandals. And the sandals are great, especially get them now for warm weather, which is right around the corner. You can get them for $20, same as downtown, using the promo code Mojo50. It's all at MyPillow.com, and they are one of our proud advertising partners here at the Daily Mojo. All right, so the jab. Let's turn our attention to the jab. First of all, this may or may not be connected in any way, shape, or form. American Idol alum C.J. Harris was 31 years old. He died Sunday after suffering an apparent heart attack. He competed on the competition back in 2014, rushed to the hospital in Jasper, Alabama. He later died. Harris came in 6th place on Idol after stunning the judges Keith Urban, Jennifer Lopez, Harry Connick. He did the Allman Brothers band Soul Shine. No word on whether or not he had the jab. And that's the thing. We see all of these. We see all of these deaths, the people who hashtag died suddenly. Are they connected to the jab? Does it have something to do with being vaccinated? If you look at what the CDC and the FDA are saying, it's over at MedPage Today, which, by the way, MedPage Today is propaganda. I've noticed that they're one of those, they're more of the machine.
Look,
So
if you've got a page, if you've got a medical page or medical information page that you go to that looks like that with all the ads, of course it's propaganda.
Yeah. But this is them saying it. CDC and FDA flag early signal of stroke risk with bivalent COVID vaccine. One surveillance system detects potential link in seniors, yet multiple others show none. An early signal of stroke risk was detected in older adults who received Pfizer-BioNTech's bivalent COVID-19 vaccine. The FDA and CDC announced in a joint statement late on Friday, which is, as we all know, where news goes to die. Yet the agencies found no link in further analyses and are not recommending a change in COVID-19 vaccination practice. According to the agency's incidence of ischemic stroke in CDC's vaccine safety data link among the individuals 65 and up in the 21 days following vaccination with Pfizer's bivalent booster met the statistical criteria to prompt additional investigation when compared with the 22 to 44 days thereafter. Okay. So we'll see how that We'll see how that plays out. Along the same lines, the CEO of Moderna has announced there will be a price hike on the COVID vaccine, consistent with, what did he say? How's that worded? Consistent with the value. Moderna is considering raising the price of its COVID-19 vaccine by 400%, from $26 per dose to between $110 and $130 per dose, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. So, I know, look, capitalism. It's medicine. Pharmaceuticals have long been a source of huge profits. It seems a little odd. I mean, generally, when you come out with a vaccine, doesn't the price, or any drug, doesn't the price go down over the course of time?
I don't know.
And am I wrong? Were these not subsidized by the government? Was the vaccine not subsidized?
Oh, it had to have been, because I didn't pay for mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and I didn't pay for those antiviral meds either, and they were apparently $700.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So are they, I don't know, raising the price because, well, no, it wouldn't be I was going to say, are they concerned about litigation in the near future? But they're immune.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They have immunity.
I mean, they do.
So,
but they won't always if they don't. Well, if they take it out of EUA, they won't.
Right. I don't know. Just fascinating information. By the way, before I read that other, the CDC and the FDA flagging, the bivalent vaccine for stroke risk. Interestingly enough, back in August of last year, there was a headline over at cedarsinai.org. New data show COVID-19 vaccine does not raise stroke risk. Cedars-Sinai experts say, however, that while COVID-19 vaccines don't increase the risk of stroke, infection does. The newly compiled data evaluated by researchers in the Department of Neurology and the Schmidt Heart Institute at Cedars-Sinai shows that COVID-19 vaccines do not raise stroke risk, but that severe COVID-19 infection does. Is this an example of the news itself, the information, the science changing over time, or what do you trust? What the hell do you trust? Because I don't know. And along those same lines, when it comes to insurance, in Louisiana, insurance companies are pulling out of that state. A frustrated Louisiana was not available for comment. Goes back to a Saturday Night Live. I think it was the 70s or 80s when the headline on the news, I think it was Chevy Chase, may have been, U.S. troops are pulling out of Afghanistan. A frustrated Afghanistan was not available for comment. So more insurance companies are pulling out of Louisiana. A lot of people down there in that state no longer have home insurance because companies are leaving the area after years of devastating storms. In the last 2 years, more than 20 companies have gone under or withdrawn from the state, forcing hundreds of thousands of families to pay higher premiums or go without coverage. We're in a crisis, according to Louisiana's insurance commissioner, Jim Donaldson. He says the crisis started in 2020 when Hurricane Laura hit Lake Charles. Soon after, the state was hit by storms Delta and Zeta, and then another major hurricane, Ida, in 2021. 800,000 claims were filed after Laura and Ida, resulting in insurers paying $23 billion for insured losses. So what do? What happens next? Because I think I know. The federal government steps in.
They have to, yeah.
They don't have to.
No, they think they have to. That's what I meant.
But they're gonna.
Yeah.
That'll be the next. It's like flood insurance.
Yeah.
Which is probably what who's going to be.
Everybody's rates just go sky high before that too.
Well, with the flood insurance, I have a friend who works in the adjustment business, in the insurance business. I think, we'll get Pfister on. My buddy Mark Pfister, I've known for years. We'll get him on to talk about it. And then in other climate news, as it were, suburb outside of Scottsdale, Arizona, I mentioned this earlier, has had its water shut off due to the drought in a worst-case scenario. So it's started to happen. Rio Verde in Arizona, it's a suburb of Scottsdale, has had its water access shut off. The suburb shares water access with Scottsdale, but a major drought led Scottsdale to hold on to its water. And there's a response from Scottsdale, by the way. 1,000 people live in the community. Now they have to fend for themselves, it says, to get water. There is a statement from Scottsdale, however. Rio Verde is a separate community governed by Maricopa County, not the city of Scottsdale. Scottsdale has warned and advised it's not responsible for Rio Verde for many years, especially given the requirements of the city's mandated drought plan. What's happening is they're running out of water, obviously. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the program. It's going to be a big old crisis out west, and it affects everybody because all those people are going to go somewhere. Nothing in the, back to their statement, nothing in the city's action plan precludes residents in Rio Verde foothills from purchasing water from other sources. So what's been happening is water handlers have been, or water haulers, I guess they're called, have been hauling water from Scottsdale over to Rio Verde. And now Rio Verde, the water haulers are going to have to find and have found other sources of water, but it's very expensive. And these people in this other community are going to have to pay a lot more money for the water. Scottsdale has a 100-year assured water supply. It's certified by the Arizona Department of Water Resources. Again, it's Maricopa County, so who do you trust? It applies to the city's population. It does not account for residents outside its service area. This could be the first shot in a very big and protracted battle.
What do you do if you live there?
West.
Panic?
I guess. I don't know. Dan Andros next.
Fully automatic, large.
You're clear. Sorry about that.
What do you panic? Huh?
No. Hey, Dan, good morning.
Please leave your number after the tone and maybe...
No voice or no audio from you, Dan.
Whatever.
Yeah, there. My wife's been playing your game ever since she started. She ain't done nothing but stare at me blank.
He's waiting. I think he's...
How about now?
Yep, we got you. Thank you.
It changed.
There he is. You have a little cold.
I was just going to say, fair warning, I am clueless on everything because I have had COVID. I've been kind of out of commission for a few days, so I'm sort of just coming out. I got the Rona, yeah.
Yeah, I had it.
Other stuff too, but I've had
it at Christmas
for I can't stop coughing. It's the most annoying thing ever. And I had a fever for a couple days, and I was kind of wiped out for a couple days, but it's not like the worst ever, but it's not been fun.
You're going through exactly what I went through. Did you get tested? That's how you know, or did you test yourself?
Yeah, we had a couple tests laying around, so I just tested one.
They gave me
that thing.
They gave me antiviral meds when I went in and got tested. Well, they tested me. I thought I had the flu, but they tested me, said I had COVID. Gave me antiviral meds. Wow. They knocked it down in about 3 days, but that cough persisted for a month.
Oh, great. My cough's been going for about 2 weeks almost. So
yeah,
it's just
like it's a nuisance cough. It doesn't. It doesn't produce anything. It doesn't clear your
throat. Like you think it's the cough. It's the feeling of I have to clear my throat.
Yep.
You hack
it
up.
It gets worse when you
cough,
lay down, though.
And then yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm
save your voice.
All right, stand by.
Save your voice.
Okay.
Save your voice. Check your messages there, Ron.
Yep.
The Daily Mojo.
See, Captain Happy over on the Twitter says, all I can say about the BS going on with the FAA and their medical changes. Thank God there are 2 pilots in the cockpits. The airline industry for a long time was pushing for a single pilot up there.
I remember that. It's not a good thing. That's never a good thing, especially if you're flying commercial or what they call instruments. It's just too busy. in the cockpit to fly one single pilot in a lot of cases.
I can tell you, I have walked by a cockpit or two in my life, and it looks like a lot of buttons.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just saying, those people who can do that, all y'all, much smarter than me. Laird Leprechaun posting a picture of what he says are attractive feet.
He's been posting them since you made the comment this morning.
Well, I just happened to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, those are not bad feet. I think it's a little weird when you wear rings on your feet. I mean, rings are for fingers, are they not? Oblivion Flickering Mom, can I go out and play now? Have you counted the used condoms and cleaned up your whores?
Wow.
That from the mother and son brothel in Florida. Again, we ask, and we did this yesterday, how close are we to Sodom and Gomorrah?
We're on the express train, dude.
Asking for a friend.
I know somebody who can help us with that answer.
Please welcome in the moral center, the conscience of the program, one Dan Andros from faithwire.com and cbn.com.
Dan's
Hey,
working
Dan.
that mute button today, baby.
Oh, yeah. I will try to spare you all.
So, Dan, do you want to disclose to everybody? I mean,
Yeah.
let me just say.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say for everybody, before you listen to Dan, you might want to put like a sandwich, like a little sandwich bag over your speaker so that when he talks, the germs don't come through your speaker. But go ahead and tell him what's going on.
Yeah, I heard. I think Fauci said that's one of the way it spreads is through the microphone and
right. Yes.
across the internet. Yeah, and across the country. Yeah, the airwaves. So, I've got the Rona. So it's been fine. I mean, I had a couple of days of fever and that were not fun. And so I was knocked out a couple days. But the most annoying thing has just been this really annoying cough.
God, what a pain in the butt.
Not go away. And I saw my wife was looking up the symptoms because it's kind of going around our family. It's annoying. And it's like this dry cough and you just have the constant tickle in your throat. And then, so it feels like, I just need to clear my throat. You cough and nothing happens. And the tickle's still there. And you're just like, so all I've been doing over the last, 5 or 6, 7 days is just trying to find a comfortable position to sit in where it doesn't trigger the cough. And then I don't want to move. And my wife's like, you need to get out and walk.
You definitely don't want to lay down.
Well, the only way I can do it is if I lay down sideways, it seems to work.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why. On the back, no is a no-go. You're done.
But I was going to say, try lying on your stomach. This is what they told me in the hospital when I had pneumonia. And lay on your stomach. That will somehow cause any fluid or congestion in there you'll at least be able to expel it. So try laying on your stomach.
There's nothing there to expel, dude. That's what he's saying.
Well, he's not finding anything, but there might be something down there in the lungs.
Maybe. What's interesting is that at least for sleeping wise, I think I used to sleep on my stomach, but after my heart surgery, I can't do it anymore. I don't know why. There's really no reason for it, but I just stopped doing it after the heart surgery because my chest hurt, you know? Then
I can understand.
And then so I stopped doing it for several months, and then now I just can't do it. It feels too weird. So, but
are you doing?
I'm willing to try anything at this point because this cough is it's so annoying. But anyway,
are you doing the what are they called? The antibodies? What are those?
My wife's giving me a bunch of. I've got
it's an
vitamin
IV.
and things coming. No.
You take an IV. It's what the heck were those things called?
Mountain Dew?
That may have been that. No, you get an IV and it's the antibodies. It's the monoclonal antibodies. That's what it is.
Yeah, no.
Those apparently can do wonders.
Yeah, but I thought that those, it's like you have to get it early on in the, I've probably had COVID now because I started coughing almost 2 weeks ago. And so I'm assuming I had it earlier on. I took forever to test until I got a fever. And then I was like, I should probably test. And then, when I had the fever,
I had a fever with mine.
Well, later, that's what it was weird because I had the cough for a while. Then I got a fever. So I don't know. We kind of think maybe I have something else too. But I haven't gone in. I'm typical guy. I'm just like,
I know.
I'll just muddle through. Yeah.
Just batten down the hatches here. And This is what they did in 1810, so why not?
Right. You make sure go lay in the front yard in mud.
Pulse
have you
ox.
tried have you tested your pulse ox yet? See what your blood oxygen level is?
Oh.
Get one of those little
That's
pulse
the little
ox,
thing they
pulse
put on
ox
your
meters.
finger that tell you if you're because you don't want to get down into like Brad got in down into his like 80s, low 80s or something.
Yeah.
Although I
If I'm
never got
having-
on mine this last time I had COVID, I didn't get below 95, so I didn't have the lung buildup issue.
Would I
that's
feel
why
like
I got the
trouble breathing
antiviral
or
meds.
something? If would I have feeling? I don't have any
Like you
trouble
can't get a
breathing or anything.
breath, like you.
No,
yeah.
no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Lightheadedness.
Yeah.
Lightheadedness.
No, this is mostly just annoying. This is like head cold, had a fever, annoying cough. I mean, that's pretty much
exactly what it was for
fine.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm breathing's fine. I mean, I'm just obviously you can hear I'm a little congested and stuff, but yeah, no, it's
check
it
out
does
those
suck,
monoclonal
dude.
antibodies.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but having played a dentist once in a student film, I do have some credibility in this area. So just recommending that you check those out.
not as much credibility as Alec Baldwin does with a gun.
Well, there's that. Yes. I mean, we're something like that. I wanted to discuss with you the Andrea Mitchell bit when she and Billy wrote the story back on the 13th, the awkward moment between Garrett, is it Hack or Hake? The reporter for NBC when he said pro-life. And apparently...
Oh, see, I think I was out of commission on this day. So,
well,
yeah,
let me
honestly, I didn't even see this
I'll play
one.
it for you.
Let's play it.
I'll play it for you.
After the fact that at the end of the day, she was, as she described herself, pro-life, and that she felt that it was important to vote for these measures despite their potentially politically damaging or politically unappealing appearance, if you will, for
Garrett,
future voters.
Let me just interrupt and say that pro-life is a term that that an entire group wants to use, but that is not an accurate description.
I'm using it because that's the term she used to describe herself, Andrea.
I understand.
Isn't that weird? I mean,
it's not
just,
accurate
again,
according to our left-wing bias. We must say anti-choice. I mean, these people are insufferable. I mean, honestly, it's just okay. CBN News, we have a great news team. The CBN News digital team, which is primarily what I'm in charge of, all the things digital that goes on in CBN and FaithWire. And it's myself, Billy, Trey, a video editor named Dan. And our small team has more journalistic integrity than all of these mainstream morons combined. I mean, I see more egregious mistakes. Who's the guy? I'm sorry, my brain. Who's the guy that does the Rufo? He does all the
Christopher
school
Rufo.
investigations and stuff. He went after, I think it was the Washington Post, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, we looked at this, and there's like 8 things wrong in here." Like, you're the Washington Post. You have 8 billion writers and editors, and but me and Trey and Billy can get all the facts right. Like, it's pathetic. It's so pathetic, and it leaves you with no other conclusion than this has to be intentional. And you see someone like Andrea here not being able to describe people in the way that they, choose to be described, and which, by the way, is a very fair way to describe it because they're literally for not having babies be killed in the womb. Like, it's a very apt description. The choice thing
Pro-life.
is farther from the truth. Choice is nonsense.
Yeah. And it's
Sorry, I need to shut up.
No. You're right. It amazes me because, again, words do matter. And she's making a point of that. The fact that she can't use or doesn't want to use that term, because if you are opposite pro-life, then obviously it doesn't put you in the best light. And you are pro-life of the unborn child. And why anyone would have a problem with that is beyond me. I don't understand that.
Because when you say you're for choice, I mean, the logical end game of that is you are for, and let's be honest, it's not like this safe, legal, and rare anymore. I mean, that ship has sailed. We are clearly in the days of shout your abortion and yay for abortion. And it is the act of ending the life of the unborn child. I mean, that is an undisputed scientific fact. There's just no getting around it. And you're ending a human life. And they want to avoid that part of the discussion, and they will go to great lengths to do it. And it's frustrating to watch, but not surprising.
I'm going to frustrate you even further.
Oh, boy.
You're welcome. CJ Pearson, who we've had on this program before, is Alabama or Georgia? He's in Alabama. He's a great kid. And I say kid, I think is he 18 yet? Maybe 19? He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's, I think, working with PragerU at this point, and he went out into the field and was asking these young ladies, would they rather have the right to an abortion or the right to vote? Hang on a second.
All right, so question here. Would you rather have the right to an abortion or the right to vote?
Abortion. Oh, abortion, yeah.
Abortion?
The right, yeah, for abortion.
Right to abortion?
Abortion.
When it comes to the issue of abortion, you said that you would give up your right to vote in exchange for the right of abortion. What's your take on that? Why would you place the right of abortion higher than even your right to vote?
I would rather not put my child through like a lifetime of suffering over, you know what I mean?
The government sometimes there was no like literally baby food on the shelves in stores for a while. So if the government can't even supply the children food, how are we going to supply them food?
Yeah.
So that's why we need to have the abortion there too.
All right.
So disturbing. Granted, it wasn't 100 people, but the reasons that they gave are terrifying because they obviously they don't seem to be educated on the facts. And they would be willing to give up their right to vote just so they would have the right to have an abortion. Because if the government can't take care of the baby, how are they expected to?
It's what strikes me most in that video, aside from the horrible logic and horrible morals, is she admits it's a child. And when you immediately go to food, like this is not some people think it's a lump of cells and they're confused about the situation. They know it's a baby. And you're talking about food on the shelves and, oh, well, gee, we can't feed him. And I mean, this is just the biggest lie out there that we don't have enough food going. I mean, honestly, I haven't heard other people make that claim. I mean, I know that they say times are tough, but I mean, you think about that logic. Well, I don't want my child to have a life of suffering, so better go ahead and kill him. I mean, would you apply that same logic to if you were a new mom and your child was 1 or 2 and you're like, hey, you know what? Times are tough and your outlook's it's going to be pretty rough. So let's head over to the bathtub. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just
right.
It's insanity.
It's scary.
And
these viewpoints are scary. And I mean, the fact that you could go to any church, quite frankly, you go to a homeless shelter, you go to a church, you could find food. There still is food in this country, despite the fact that, it is, we've had shortages here and there, but in their position, being pregnant, you could go to a church, homeless shelter, you'd be able to find food. But these are the reasons they're using for,
and
yeah.
Not even just like if my pastor said, hey, we came across this single mom or this pregnant mom who's very afraid of, they don't have enough food. How are they going to care for their child? Can you guys help? Are you kidding me? We have just a couple hundred people in my church. I guarantee, I mean, none of us are all wealthy and rich, but I guarantee you there would be a nice fund for that child. And I'm willing to bet my life that any church in America that this person walked into, you would get the same result. And that doesn't even just go for Christian churches. I think if you went to any group anywhere and you just said, hey, I can't feed my child, you would find people who would help you. And so it's such a lie from the pit that you're just not going to be able to make it. But we talk about worldviews, and I think these are the consequences of a secular worldview where you don't you put all your trust in government. I mean, listen to her logic. Well, the government can't provide food for me. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like, God is going to provide, and often he does that through other people. And we've stopped looking around for help among one another. Everyone's in their own silo, and even more so now with social media and the young generation, that they don't even think to go to neighbors or communities and go for help. It's really sad.
I know your voice is I don't want to overtax it, so I want to end on a positive note here.
Yeah.
This is over at CBN. The headline, good things come to those who pray. Angela Bassett honors God at the Golden Globes after making movie history. Not something you generally see coming out of Hollywood. Does it give you hope? Or is this just a headline grab by
I think
a Hollywood person?
No. I don't think by any means you're going for a headline grab if you're in Hollywood and you are. I mean, I think that, people talk about courage and bravery, and, someone goes up there at these award shows and wears duct tape on their boobs, and that's rewarded as heroic behavior. I think this type of commentary is actually heroic in Hollywood because it is not a revered view at all. I mean, it is a view that is going to put you on the outside looking in. So I respect it, and I think that there's a smattering of people that are willing to speak out. And you saw it in the NFL with the Bills, and they of course changed that meme real quick to love for DeMar instead of pray for DeMar. They switched that thing up. But you see a lot of people talking about prayer and faith, and they're willing to step out. But it's more prevalent in the NFL than it is in Hollywood, let's be honest. But you're always going to see a smattering of people who have the courage of their convictions and their faith, and I'm going to praise them every time they do it because I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. Always credit where credit is due. I'm not even going to ask you about the Quick Start podcast. I'm going to tell you that you're talking about the United States being the most radical country on gender transition, the CDC issues, the booster shot warning, government versus the homeless ministry, and Ephesians 5. Anything you want to comment on there before I let you go?
Yeah, I'm just I thought you guys would get a chuckle out of the CDC one. There's nothing to worry about, just all the strokes. But go ahead, take the booster. You guys keep doing it. You can't make this stuff up.
It is truly amazing. The government is here. They're here to help. All right, so remember to lay on your stomach. Check into those monoclonal antibodies. I mean, that's what Rogan did. And there are those places that'll come to your house and do them. Actually, I think that's for a hangover, but they give you the IV. But it's fluids. And get one of those little pulse ox meters.
I'll take just about anything right now to make this cough go away. It's that annoying. So I'll drink kale soup or something if I have to.
All right, buddy. Get well.
Right,
very, very soon.
Thanks.
Let us know.
See you, Dan.
All right, there's Dan Andros, host of the Quick Start podcast over at faithwire.com. I get worried now especially with the cough thing.
Yeah.
That thing is...
The cough was... Look, I mean, it didn't keep me from being on the radio, but I rode that mute button a lot. The bottom line is that cough just lasts for a long time. It's not like having a regular cold, and it's just annoying.
Right.
But it doesn't produce anything at all. I have zero congestion, zero sinus issues, nothing. It's just a tickle in the back of the throat.
Just a little tickle.
But you cough so much, it begins to sound bad, right?
And eventually it irritates your throat and things, it's not good. So anyway, hoping Dan has a tremendously fast recovery.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Stuff hangs on for a couple of weeks. American Pride Roasters, again, if you're new to the program, American Pride Roasters is a long time advertising partner here. They and it's a family business. When I say they, I'm talking about the family, DM and his family. They make fantastic coffee. If you like coffee, I promise you that there is a flavor. And it's not just like, here's our coffee. There's a dark roast, there's a light roast, and pick one. It's like a bunch of flavors. And if I was going to suggest, if you like chocolate, you like a little fruity hint, and just it's not like overpowering. It's not like you're going to get it's not like drinking chocolate milk. It's just that hint of chocolate, and it's raspberry, right?
Yes.
Ron Sexual chocolate.
Yep. A little hint of raspberry, honestly.
Little hint, just a little tickle. There are all kinds. There are 27 different flavored coffees that you can find over at American Pride Roasters. They're all caught up. They're stocked up. Take advantage of it now. And shipping, shipping just was so, it continued to be crazy all last year. I'm not even going to say that. Shipping is just a beast. But there's also a brand new coffee. It's called Washington Crossing the Delaware. There's only a 35-pound bag of it. Obviously, these coffees, again, are hand-roasted by DM, and it's going fast. So take a look at what it is and how you can get your hands on it over at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. And you can get the whole story there about American Pride Roasters because, again, if you want to support small business in this country and see how it's really done, see what the backbone of America really is, take a look there. A couple of final notes here. Again, I haven't been following the NFL. I followed with DeMar Hamlin's situation, of course, and Tom Brady, more of a pop icon than a football player.
Yep.
Is he done now? Was the last year a mistake?
Maybe.
Because they're talking about him slinking back into retirement again. What's this, time number 4? I think at least 3 or 4.
3, yeah.
Remember the dude that bought, when he retired last March, the dude bought the final football, like $100,000 or something stupid.
Yep.
And then Brady comes out of retirement and the ball
now it's
is
not
like
worth a damn.
Nothing.
Yep.
And so if he's going to retire again, can you imagine how pissed off the guy who has bought the football last year? You think he's going to buy another one this year? He does, because they lost on, I guess the game was last night. They lost to the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys won, amazingly.
Right. And again, I haven't followed football, but it's interesting to see somebody like Tom Brady, who's 45 years? Yeah, 45 years old and still playing in the NFL. Did he stay at the table too long? And I don't even know how you answer that question.
45 years old? Hell, 40 years old is old to be playing in the NFL. Your body just doesn't recover fast enough to go from game to game to game like that.
Can you imagine the drugs he gets?
I can't imagine them, but I'm sure he does get them, yes.
23 years he has played in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he might be done. He might be done at this point. And I don't think there's any more appropriate way to leave you on this Tuesday than the story of Pamela J. Pamela J has an OnlyFans account, and she has a bit of a problem. Wouldn't you say, Ron? I mean,
I would say she has a problem. Thank you for sending that to me, by the way.
You're very welcome. And we're concerned about Pamela J because Pamela has an issue.
Is it a glandular problem? Is that what you call it? A glandular?
Well, technically, the mammaries are glands.
That's true.
Thanks for the mammaries.
Yeah.
She has gone up 4 bra cup sizes. Again, she has an OnlyFans. She has gone from a J cup to an M cup in 8 months.
She has a rare condition. My boobs won't stop growing. The photos are down low. Yeah.
So you already found them.
Yes.
I mean, that's like a cartoon.
Yes.
I don't even understand what it's called. Gigantomastia.
And which means they're real. They're not fake boobs.
If this is true.
Yes.
If this is true. Gigantomastia is a very rare and not properly understood condition that causes rapid, excessive breast tissue growth. It can cause mastalgia, breast pain, ulceration or infection, posture problems, back pain, and chronic traction injury to intercostal nerves, resulting in the loss of nipple sensation according to the National Center for Advancing Translational Sciences. If, in fact, this is the case, that this poor woman has this condition, and I can't imagine how, it would be like carrying cinder blocks strapped to your chest.
Oh, yeah.
All day long. Maybe she's making lemonade after life has given her lemons.
Dude. The back pain's got to be miserable.
I can't imagine.
I carry this gut around. I know what my back pain is.
I know, right? Me too. So we just wanted to do a little shout out there to Pamela J. and remind you she does have an OnlyFans. So again, there's some lemon aid from lemons.
Yeah. And from
You're
one
welcome.
boob back to another. Here I am.
Or would that be lemon or melon juice?
Melon juice.
When life gives you melons. And that's your Daily Mojo.
What do you mean it's Let's Go?
Told you we were different. We're a little bit different. A good kind of different, I'd like to think. That is it. 2 hours of audio deliciousness we call the Daily Mojo here for Tuesday, the 17th of January, the year of our Lord, 2023. Let's find out what, if anything, anyone, anywhere learned from during the course of the program. Even the new folks. Over on the Twitters, Clock Tower Drunk, the only thing that I can think about that was good about Tom Brady besides his career is the MAGA hat being found in his locker.
I remember that.
Oblivion flickering. Dead babies can't take food off shelves. Dead babies can't take care of themselves. Alice Cooper. What song was that? Is it called Dead Babies? B from the SAV. Pretty sure Brady's only retired once. Just very loudly. He's threatened retirement in the past.
Yeah.
Let's see here. B from the SAV. Right to abortion, no right to vote. Isn't that selective extinction? It's weird. When asked if you would give up, that just shows they're not being taught anything. You give up the right to vote to have the right to. It may be. Over in the Rumble chat room, Patriot Girl 1658. It's all on the jab and testing. People need to stop testing also.
Testing for COVID, you mean?
Yeah. Why would it's like every year if you tested for the flu, we'd probably see a lot more cases of flu. Would we not? It's the numbers that they keep that they keep using to keep the emergency going forward. It's the reported numbers. So, and we all know what's been happening.
Yeah.
And Jerome says, got to start watching what you put in your mouth. Rondolph's ticklish throat. Just say it. That's all I can say about you today, too. Ron, you are beautiful. I love you, and you know that. As for the rest of you, the beautiful and the not so beautiful, remember that we, the people, have to hang together. Otherwise, we shall surely hang separately. Sic semper tyrannis, resist stupid. And good night, Doc Thompson.
Wherever you are, see ya.
Hasta mañana.
Hump day tomorrow. See ya.
Oh, yeah.